Adventure of a good book. I'm Jenny Benson, president of NSEA. Working together, parents and teachers can help every child succeed. You can help by reading to your child and let your child read to you. Encourage reading in your home and make it a priority. Make reading fun and a time that you and your child look forward to spending together.
Sponsored by the Nebraska State Education Association, aired by the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Victor deployed for the first time to Afghanistan in 2003. At 4 a.m, my phone rang. They said, "I regret to inform you that your husband was wounded in action." Victor sustained a moderate traumatic brain injury. I was doing school full-time, and I was also then caring for Victor. One of the most important elements of caregiving is taking care of yourself. I just didn't want to forget that I also had goals and that I also had a life. What I did is I challenged Victor to meet me halfway. There are almost 6 million military and veteran caregivers across the nation. We have our own journey, and we can fulfill that journey at the same time that we are helping our loved one.
Visit aarp.org/caregiving for a free military veterans guide to navigate your caregiving journey and better care for your loved one and yourself. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Live from the 93.7 The Ticket studios in the heart of Lincoln, America. This is Inside the Huddle with Nebraska Football Hall of Famer Jay Foreman.
Fires a pass, and it's intercepted by the Huskers at the 25, Jay Foreman. And Foreman takes it down to the 19-yard line of Oklahoma. Another big play by the Blackshirts.
On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Sponsored by Advanced Medical Imaging.
Good morning again. You get a double dose of this Inside the Huddle with Jay Foreman, brought to you by Advanced Medical Imaging, 7601 Pioneers Boulevard. You are not in Bizarre World. This is hearing and seeing me, because we always go live 2 times in one day. But the great thing about it was able to change. And had a little opening, and then obviously it's always good to get in here with Harrison. But Harrison, before we got on, what we're going to do in this first, 20, 25-minute segment is do some NFL stuff, and then also Husker Hoops recap of the big victory yesterday. So, but first is NFL stuff, Harrison. An interesting story. So it was really, obviously, about a week or so ago, the Patriots and Bill Belichick decided to mutually part ways. I think Belichick was going to make them fire him, and then they were going to trade him. But then it came down to say, listen, I won you 6 Super Bowls. You've been the head coach for 24 years or whatever it is. We're not going to trade you like a piece of meat, right? And Belichick forced their hand when he said he was going to give up some decision-making power. Well, he knew the end was near. And I think he probably knew, they said, when they lost the game over in Germany, I think. A game they shouldn't. They just didn't look really good. I think they lost to the Patriots, or not the Patriots, but lost to the Colts. And well, anyways, next thing you know, obviously for one of the most storied franchises in the last 25 years, the coaching position is open. And everybody's like, who's going to be the coach? Is it going to be Vrabel? So forth and so on. Well, lo and behold, the Patriots and Bill Belichick had a contingency plan, right? Like that show that's really taken off, Succession, right? Yeah. And people forgot about it, because I remember when Jared Mayo, or I think his name is Gerard Mayo, great player at New England, jumped right into coaching, a great leader. I remember when he had opportunities to go other places and interview, and he always say no. And it was because he had it built into his contract that once Bill Belichick left, he would be promoted to head coach. So essentially all he had to do is not get fired, as a D coordinator, linebacker coach. Well, that held true. And, he's been a mainstay there, both as a player and as a coach. And he became the head coach. And it's kind of like, when Scott Frost got hired, there's a lot of former teammates there. So you can kind of just say, you don't learn anything, but, you just see who's there, right? Whether it's old and new. And a lot of times some of the current players are there. They saw it with Matt Rule and stuff like that. Well, there's a story out of Foxborough or Boston that Mr. Mac Jones was there, Mr. Poindexter himself. The story goes like this. So Mac Jones, ever since his rookie year, making the Pro Bowl, playing very well, has been extremely high maintenance and is a very hard teammate to deal with. And as a quarterback, if you're not superiorly talented, you cannot be like that. And obviously, Mac Jones has rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. I think part of the reason why the offense of the Patriots has been so horrible is because of the lack of relationship between Mac Jones and his receivers and linemen. He's always making excuses. He's cussing out the coaches. I remember the first time they put Zappy in the game, they're like, I'm not getting any blocking, so forth and so on. These are professionals. And you had Jacoby Myers, who actually was a 1,000-yard receiver for the Raiders. So you had talent. They signed Juju Smith-Schuster from the Chiefs. He couldn't get it going. Nobody that's ever worked with him really got it going. So how it works when the season's over, Harrison, if you live, in Lincoln and you're played in, for whatever team, you'd pack up some cleats and some turf shoes and, anything you needed because you probably go back to your off-season home and work out, whether it's in the gym or indoor, outdoor facility. But if you are under contract, you generally will leave stuff that's still there for when you come back. Odd weekend you come back or, you got a rehab or something. Well, Mac Jones, who's still under his rookie contract, cleaned out his whole locker, including the hangers. This is confirmed by pictures. If
let me see if I can pull those up and put them on the screen.
So he cleaned out his whole locker, which is not normal, especially with a holdover head coach. And, you leave, you get Gerard Mayo ends up being the coach. And next thing you know is Mac Jones shows up at the introductory press conference, which was very funny in the sense of they had the funny moment where Robert Kraft tried to pronounce Gerard Mayo's brother's name. And Gerard Mayo was like, look, that's, it's a black. Yeah, good try, but it's a black name. Let me help you out here. And Gerard Mayo had a really good introductory press conference where he addressed some issues and he didn't run from it, but he said he wanted to be a champion on both sides of the thought process to do better in the future. Well, Mac Jones is there in workout gear. And if you do something like that, when you have the personality like Mac Jones, it will come out and you will get a ton of quotes and opinion of players that are on your team. And so guys just went in on Mac Jones, talking about how bad of a teammate he was. And it's a joke. It's all for the publicity, so forth and so on.
Makes me put the Bill Belichick looking elsewhere together.
Yeah.
Seems like it wasn't just Mac Jones. The Bill Belichick lost a little bit of respect to the locker room too there.
Right.
Going through all this. Looks like the whole ship, because Belichick's always been, everything we do is to win. It's one of the few times I think the players pointed at it and it's like, is that the win or what's going on here with Mac Jones and pushing him to third string, maybe to protect him. The whole Mac Jones, the Zappy era, it feels like that's where Bill Belichick. This is making more sense why he looks like he's looking to head out.
Now, I wanted to ask you about that, right? Bill Belichick and draft choices, or let's just stay on Mac Jones. Do you think Mac? Now, I will say this, and I agree or disagree with me. I think Bill Belichick screwed Mac Jones. Mac Jones has done a good enough job, however he did in the locker room. Now, granted, some of his attitude changes might be because of what I'm about to say. I think Bill Belichick hurt his career by having Matt Patricia and Joe Judge, a defensive coordinator and a special teams coach, be co-offensive coordinators in the most important years of his career early.
I agree.
And then you double down on it on Mr. Dimplechin, Bill O'Brien, who really jumped on the map because him and Tom Brady had a nose-to-nose argument against at that time the Washington Redskins. He's a great offensive coordinator, but again, another abrasive. He doesn't care who you are. He treats you just like a piece of meat type of quarterback, because obviously he made news right before the national championship or college football playoffs that he told Jalen Milroe you shouldn't even be playing quarterback. So, do you think those two things, which was okayed by Bill Belichick, really, really set this Mac Jones spiral at a rapid pace downhill?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure I'm gonna just pull up his stats his first year, but I mean, I want to say his first season he wasn't playing bad at all. I think he was playing.
Mac Jones, he made the Pro Bowl.
Yeah, so he made the Pro Bowl. His first season, he wasn't bad, like you were saying. It's just everything after. It felt like kind of what it felt like when we had Adrian Martinez here at times, where the whole game's on his shoulders.
Yeah.
We're not really doing him a whole lot of favors. Even when he's out there banged up a little bit, he's still expected to win us games. Mac Jones, kind of a similar thing. They were okay all around, but between the coaching, we saw what they did to the Eagles this year.
Yeah.
When you have that rapid coaching changes, and you're playing well, all of a sudden you got a new OC. Good luck. I mean, it just changes a lot in a really short window of time.
Yeah, and I think that coincided with Josh McDaniels leaving. And obviously that's how you get two defensive, which is weird. You try to tell me you can't get any offensive coordinators. You don't have any on your staff. Josh McDaniels leaving, becoming the Raiders head coach, and Mac Jones made the Pro Bowl with Josh McDaniels. And you got to think, and this is sometimes circumstantial and also on Bill Belichick and some of the players. His big free agent signings, Hunter Henry from the at that time the San Diego Chargers, was like injured the first 2 years of his career. So then that's your safety net as a quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
And then the offensive lineman, when he got hurt, who actually was really good, then he got hurt. Then he struggled to come back. Then they let Brown, the big right tackle, go to the Raiders. And then they brought him back. And by that time, it's too late. And then they had the other first-round pick that they picked on across the offensive line. That was, by all the draft gurus, was a third or fourth round pick.
Mm-hmm.
They jumped and took him, and he's okay. So you're not protecting him by draft picks and personnel, and then you're not getting explosive on the outside, and then you got a defensive coach, a defensive coordinator.
Yeah, he got a worse treatment than Fields, and that says
a
lot.
Yeah, I mean, it 2 times over.
Mm-hmm.
A defensive coordinator, as your, and mind you, Matt Patricia never had coached offense at the pro level before. And that, I think right there, it shows a little bit of the chink in the armor with Bill Belichick. And I think that's how you can lose a locker room, along with Mac Jones' attitude and his behavior change. And it was time to split.
Yeah. I mean, he just got worse. So real quick here, first season, obviously started 17 games, played 17. That was his best season. Almost 4,000 yards, 3,800. Touchdown to interception ratio, not great, but not bad for your first year. 22-13. You just hope that gets better. Gets worse. Next season, 14 touchdowns, 11 interceptions. Next season, 10 touchdowns, 12 interceptions, and that's about where they gave up. 2023.
Yeah, I mean, the interceptions are coincided with the play calling and the personnel and the lack of development.
Mm-hmm.
You couldn't expect me to go and coach quarterbacks and not have a quarterback guru do it and expect the same results. It's not like he was in the 18th year or 16th year like Tom Brady, where you just, like, if I was the coach Tom Brady, I was like, I just got to make sure he's upright.
Yeah, you got the playbook. You got the update.
Okay, what do you need me to do?
Yeah.
I'm your caddy.
Mm-hmm.
What do you need me to do? You need some Gatorade, coffee? I'll make it. I'm trying to do this. You need to teach me. This guy's just fresh in the league, and you're not even surrounded. And the thing is, I think that's where Bill Belichick lost a little bit of touch. I think sometimes his ego got in his way with Tom Brady. And I think Tom Brady going and having immediate success, and even had success the year that he didn't win it.
Yeah.
Afterwards, really, really hurt Bill Belichick, both his credibility, right? Because Bill Belichick was always saying privately, it's me, not Tom Brady.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I made Tom Brady. And now people are starting to go back and look at his draft picks, look at some of the free agent signings, some of the guys he let go. And here's the saying, and then we'll move on to Husker basketball. I think it was either Julian Edelman or Danny Amendola. He said, "We worked for Bill, we played for Tom." That was a quote.
Seems like an Edelman quote.
Yeah, but that's a quote
that
rings true and hits home, especially when Robert Kraft hears it. We work for Bill, we play for Tom. He's telling you, he never had the team. He never had the team.
That's telling.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens here. He's going to take a page out of Brady's book, head on over NFC South.
Yeah,
go beat up on some chumps, maybe.
Listen, Bill Belichick getting stupid. He looks at that division, Dennis Allen, who knows who's going to coach the Panthers, and He would be coaching Atlanta. Who else is in there? It's the
You got the
Tampa
Saints,
Bay.
Panthers,
and Tampa Bay.
Buccaneers.
Todd Bowles is essentially on a prove it deal, so he doesn't fear Todd Bowles, and he's coached against Todd Bowles before at the Jets. So, anyways, good things to keep an eye on. But now we got about 5 minutes to recap that Husker basketball game yesterday against Northwestern. And I thought, first of all, it was Husker great alumni weekend, and they featured the 1993-94 Big 8 championship team, which our own Eric Strickland was on, and a host of great, former Huskers, and like Eric Piakowski, Terrence Badgett, so forth and so on.
Led by Danny Nee, who was able to make it down there.
Danny, Danny Nee, came back. I don't think he's been back that much, and so I think Danny Nee might be the biggest Husker basketball coach today, like the most successful and but definitely most well respected, right?
Yeah, I concur. I mean,
I mean, when you think of Husker basketball coaches, Danny Nee,
yeah,
right?
I think Danny Nee.
Yeah, Danny Nee. So it's great to have him back. It's even better that a really good friend of mine, Larry Florence, who's battling like a champion that he is, came back in the men's basketball team, and the Husker Athletics supported him with the wristbands and the headbands with L Flow on there, which is obviously Larry Florence. So it was really good to see him battling. And I think this weekend did wonders as well for him to keep fighting. But then also, I think, Harrison, I want your opinion. I think seeing all those great former Huskers, from Bruce Chubbuck, Bo Reed, Keith Moody, all those guys, that it inspired them. I think the pressure to continue to fight and go out there and bring it to Northwestern was there, especially after that Rutgers game where you let that go. That's a hard game to bounce back against a really good tournament team, battle-tested Northwestern team.
Yeah, the thing about that Northwestern game, I think, again, I'm hoping that inspired the games. You heard Strickland talking about it the whole time. He was going to be pissed if they lost that game with Danny Nee coming back. He was very open about they need to go win that game against Northwestern at home. But you look at it's another game where Nebraska shoots over 50% field goal percentage.
Yeah.
The turnovers were concerning. That was a problem. The rebounding again towards the end. But again, they didn't give up. I thought the defense down the stretch got a little tighter, helped out a lot. There's just still a few things with this team that I do get worried about. It's the turnovers.
Yeah. That
was kind of rare. Usually they're okay on that. And then tell me this, do they still need that guy to just take over a game towards the end? Because we definitely go, seems like in the second half, scoring
5-6 minute droughts. Yeah, I think they fall asleep some. I think in the second half, especially like if you look at the game yesterday, they had control of the game, for quite some time, and then they fall asleep a little bit, and then they take a couple hero shots and play hero basketball.
Tends to happen after the opening of the second half.
Right. Yeah.
It seems to happen a lot.
They lose a lot of focus coming out of the halftime to there, and then they wake up, and then sometimes it's a little bit, too little, too late. I think the one thing that they, of course, if you had a closer, that'd be great. But I think you can close if you have somebody that's not necessarily 100% your ace in the hole. If you have somebody that can get a bucket, make that play, Casey did, did
Bryce
it.
Williams had a few nice moves.
And the great thing about Casey, I think he learned from that Rutgers game, and I said it on Old School, is like the shot that he took, the deep contested three, you don't take that on the road. You take that at home. Okay, because you know what you're doing, and it's not as, doesn't hurt you as deathly when you do that. And you saw it. Just that little inch that the Northwestern switch was off. K-State had enough room. You want that knockdown three, dagger in the heart. The one thing about Northwestern as far as the turnovers, and I want to ask you this before we, step off, is Jamarcus Lawrence played really well, right? And Rink Mass played good, but you don't need, when Rink Mass is leading your team in assists, those are just like points for him. And he had a big battle in there with that big 7-footer. I wanted to ask you about Jamarcus Lawrence. This is the first game, I think, where he played off the ball the most, right?
And you're seeing Bass take it up the court more and more.
Right. So you saw the scoring and better efficiency in playing. Do you like that idea to kind of free up Jamarcus Lawrence and let him do his thing where last year he really went on that 5, 6, 7, maybe even 8 game run of almost 10 plus points a game, taking him off the ball, let him attack, and then obviously you have him as a ball handler as well.
Yeah, I mean, I like it where it's at right now. I think we're seeing it with the the game's so positionless now that I think with a guy like DeMarcus Lawrence, he seems like he's better off the ball anyways. You can see him. He does a lot better on those backdoor cuts. And the way Northwestern was playing too, that kind of seemed like a perfect game
match
because,
to get him going.
Yeah, well, Northwestern all game was up on the ball, really tight pressure.
Yeah, they tight pressure you and they switch everything. But Nebraska in the first half was killing them on the slips and the backdoor cuts. Northwestern made an adjustment, and it took a little bit while for Nebraska to adjust. And so they were running a little bit more secondary and third actions off their original. And then once Northwest would make one mistake, they were getting easier shots. And that's how I think they were able to close out the game.
Yeah, and you're seeing that. That's one thing with this team where, again, I don't know if it should even be a problem at all that you don't feel like there's that one guy. Because it can be any guy. We've seen it like multiple starters, guy off the bench could be the leading scorer for that night. But you're definitely seeing that a lot with Mast. And again, with Lawrence, I think for him, he's still just trying to figure out his game a little bit.
Right, sure.
He's got that
young.
sweet jumper from mid-range. To me, that's
his
where
deal.
I really like it.
I like that, man. That's like that gut punch, you know, to you and really knock a hole in the defense. Before we go to break, I want to ask you, people don't give enough credit and love. Let's knock on knock on wood for CJ Wilcher.
Yeah.
He has another year left, but look, his role is something, you know, got diminished a little bit last year. He was shooting good shots. They just weren't falling. They started to fall at the end of the last year. And I think this year has been the best year for CJ. He's in good shape. He's playing more active on defense. And then he's knocking down that mid-range. He's knocking down that corner three where he had it and had to just, you know, position himself with the ball, hit the three. I think you're starting to see some real maturity from CJ, and that's what you need, right? In my opinion, Rink Mass is always battling against the Big Ten. You see all the scars on him. I mean, he looked like he in a steel cage match.
I'm waiting for one guy to comment on that yet. That guy looks banged up all the time. Man. One of these announcers. I wonder if it's still from that accident prior to the season, if that's where a lot of those came from.
Yeah, I think so too. And people don't know. The announcers yesterday did say it.
Okay.
They're like, yeah, that was that. They were like, oh, that's all from the Purdue game. I'm like, that ain't new.
No, that's been all season.
Yeah. So, I mean, give it up to CJ. He's being that spark off the bench, consistent. I like it. He has a defined role. He's excelling at it. If you need him, and then the great thing about it, if you need him in more minutes, he'll play. Yeah. And let's also give some props to Eli Rice coming off the bench.
He's been pretty good.
Right.
Defensively. I've been impressed by him.
Right. That's like physical, explosive. He had a run there where he had like 2 or 3 switches in possessions where he caused a lot of problems for Northwestern. So this is how you build a program, build a team. You get guys, even though they come in with a lot of accolades, to buy into defense and situational basketball.
Probably Alex's best stretch too.
Right. Yeah. And that's great for him.
Playing really well.
Yeah.
With Gary out.
Yeah. He's starting to find it. And Fred said it at the end of the game. They felt like they got out tough and they needed somebody to bring some edge. Josiah Alec did it. And I even think from that, I think Purdue game, when he hit that corner 3, it just looks like a way better shot. Hit free throws down the stretch for this team. Play with good energy. Local Lincoln kid. I've been seeing him play since he was like a junior in high school. Great athlete.
It's crazy what he looked like back in the day. To realize he shot up like that.
Well,
you can see the fro, but he got big.
He probably got like an inch or an inch and a half taller in college, but he is big now. And he had a smooth 18, 15-foot jumper. He played with Bryson Williams. And at times I thought he was just as good. So it's a great addition and you know, good job of this team bouncing back against a tough Northwestern team in front of Danny Nee, in front of all the Nebraska former greats and champions and Big 8 champion. And give it up before we go to break to Eric Piatkowski, right? Was it what they call him, the Polish rifle? Yeah. Well, 3 shots from half court. Did he win something?
I don't know if he won anything. I just saw him draining it.
Yeah, he had so it's nothing like Pike ain't lost it.
I guess it's just like so people don't forget. I guess that was the message.
Yeah, he let him know why his name was up in the Raptors. So, anyways, good stuff. We're gonna take a break. Come back. Jay Foreman and Harrison. We'll be right back.
It's pro time, Nebraska. The Omaha Supernovas, your Major League Volleyball team, are about to hit the court. Mark your calendars for January 24th at 7 p.m. when we host the first ever Pro Volleyball Federation match against the Atlanta Vibe at the CHI Health Center. Witness world-class talent, including national champions and Olympians. Don't wait. Secure your single match tickets today at supernovas.com and become a part of history.
Nutrition Authority presents Activator. University studies have shown that Activator helps with building muscle and strength while decreasing body fat. Activator is for male and females of all ages who want to look, feel, and perform their best. Activator can only be found in Nutrition Authority. Stop in, call, or visit us at mynutritionauthority.com.
How do we even begin to choose from the hundreds of realtors in town?
Easy. We make a pros list.
You mean a pros and cons list?
No, just a pros list. We need someone with pro photography to showcase the house in the best possible way, pro marketing to make sure we get maximum exposure, pro negotiations so we know we get the best price.
This is one of those times where you already know the right answer, isn't it?
You know it is. Ben Bleicher and Professional Realty Group.
Contact Ben Bleicher and the team at Professional Realty Group of Berkshire Hathaway's Home Services Ambassador. Online at prg-ne.com.
Are you working in or looking to get into the electrical construction industry? The electrical workers of Local Union 265 are now hiring licensed journeymen and apprentices and are offering great pay and benefits. Call Mike at 402-875-1034 to apply. Start your electrical career today.
Get rid of pesky critters once and for all with Bats to Rats. Their expert team is here to help you reclaim your home. No more sleepless nights caused by crawling critters or flapping wings. Bats to Rats ensures a safe environment for every family member. Check the website at batstoRats.com for amazing offers, and if you mention this ad, you'll receive $10 off your initial inspection cost. Don't allow uninvited guests to take over your home. Trust Bats to Rats for a peaceful and rodent-free living space.
My dream was to work in commercial banking, but it required a college degree and I didn't have one. I found out that Doane had classes for adult learners on the Lincoln campus and online. So I earned my bachelor's degree, and 5 months later, I landed my dream job. I decided to continue my education, and now I'm working on my MBA at Doane. For me, the Doane experience has been life-changing.
A team succeeds when they work together. Banking's no different. At UBT, we're in your corner for every financial move you want to make. Your money's backed by a roster of experts who put in the work to know you and your community. So whether you're opening a savings account, buying a home, or planning your future, you always know who to turn to. Working together toward your financial goals. That's a win in our playbook. Union Bank and Trust. Equal housing lender, member FDIC.
Plains Cover Crop is your one-stop seed shop. Call us now for spring and summer forages, CRP mixes, and fall cover crop blends. We do farm-specific consulting for practical and efficient seed blends to fit your geography and goals. With a very diverse inventory, we will tailor a blend just for you. We're also looking for contract growers, and we buy and sell rye. Find us online at plainscovercrop.com. Timeless agronomy practices paired with modern technology. East Highway 20 in Orchard and across Nebraska.
Shopping for new flooring is different today. Getting your questions answered, making the right selection, getting the best value, and installed quickly and professionally. Visit ostreetcarpet.com or shop our store. We'll answer all your questions and help you make the right choice. You'll be enjoying your new floor in just days for less than you'd pay elsewhere. Carpet, vinyl, wood, laminate, tile, and area rugs. We've got it all.
O Street Carpet.
1732 O Street. Family owned and operated. Always the best value.
It's fishing season. Bad actors are trolling your business emails, luring you and your employees to take the bait and steal your private information. Make sure your cybersecurity keeps your business from being the catch of the day. At Hamilton, cybersecurity is our business. We are experts at keeping your network and business information secure and off the hook. Contact Hamilton for a vulnerability assessment today. Hire your local experts. Hire Hamilton at hamiltonisbusiness.com.
There's no better way to spark a child's imagination than to get lost in the adventure of a good book. I'm Jenny Benson, president of NSEA. Working together, parents and teachers can help every child succeed. You can help by reading to your child and let your child read to you. Encourage reading in your home and make it a priority. Make reading fun and a time that you and your child look forward to spending together.
Sponsored by the Nebraska State Education Association, aired by the Nebraska Broadcasters Association in this station.
Back to the Ticket weeknights on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, welcome back into Ticket Weekends, not weeknight. Shout out to Jay Foreman for filling in with me on that first segment. Don't go anywhere. We got plenty of content here left on Ticket Weekends on the Sunday. You guys have probably heard it before, but the Sunday programming goes pretty long, all the way up until 11 p.m. And again, the coffee shop is open. So if you want to head out here, 1040 O Street, get yourself a cup of coffee, maybe a bite to eat as well, and meet some of the on-air talent. But nonetheless, we got a couple segments here. We'll talk about some NFL along with some more Husker hoops here, maybe even a few Husker football recruiting updates as well. And if you guys ever want to join these shows, Sartor Heyman text line 402-464-5685. Always feel free to engage in the show. And again, streaming on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, Allo Channel 961. Great way to put a face to the voice. But nonetheless, let's go ahead and keep talking a little bit about this Nebraska basketball game. Obviously, they get the win last night over Northwestern, 69-75. The only other Big Ten team to actually take down Purdue this year was Northwestern, the other school with an NU abbreviation. But nonetheless, Nebraska is able to take them down. We talked a little bit on the last segment, but there's a few storylines. We kind of summed them up. We'll just quick go through them here. Rink Mast, 8 points, 6 assists, and 8 rebounds. And again, it wasn't necessarily your eye-grabbing stat from Rink Mast, but I think one thing, if you're sitting down and you're watching the full game, you're not watching the highlights, you're not watching the Big Ten highlight reel at the end, you sit down and you watch from the beginning to the end, Rink Mast does a lot for this offense and defense that just doesn't show up on paper. He was battling another 7-footer last night. Wasn't his best game, I don't think, but he still did enough to kind of get things going there. And they just use him so much, especially at that high post. They'll bring him up to the top of the key. You saw that at the very end there. You pull up the big, Rink Mast sets a screen, seals it well, gives Keisei Tamanaga just enough room. And he does all these small things throughout the entire game, where if you just watch him play, there was another great play where it looked like a Bryce Williams highlight, but if you actually go back and replay it, yes, it was a good move by Bryce Williams, but it was made incredibly easy because Rink Mast saw it ahead of time and just had the lane completely sealed up already for Bryce Williams just going there for a quick Euro step. So again, Rink Mast, not eye-catching numbers, but you just have to watch this full game from the first half to the second half, and you'll probably see the impact that Rink Mast has night in, night out. Moving on, Josiah Allick, his best game of the season, arguably. He had 15 points, and without Juwan Gary, you're going to need a guy that's going to have high energy, that's going to be able to play that same level of intensity on defense that Juwan Gary would bring to the table a lot of times. And Josiah Allick responded well. These past 2 games have arguably been some of his better games. Last game, he had 15 points, 5 boards, 2 assists, and those 15 points really big. Early on, they used him a lot. He was great for getting some early buckets. And again, really punished Northwestern for pushing really high on that on-ball pressure. It's interesting to watch these teams and how they're attacking Nebraska defensively. With Purdue, you saw it a little bit different. They were willing to give up that 3-point shot. They weren't as concerned by it, and they got blown out of the water as a result. Wisconsin, kind of the same thing. We just didn't shoot very well that day. But then you get to a Northwestern team. I think Northwestern looks at Nebraska basketball thinking, okay, this is a team that has been blowing people out of the water on the 3-point line. Their field goal percentage is just well above average. So we need to press these guys and not give them comfortable shooting lanes and really just close out hard on all these handoffs. Dribble, handoff, dribble, handoff. You watch enough Nebraska basketball, you see that action over and over and over. So Northwestern decides we're going to play really tight on it. This is a good 3-point shooting team. We don't want to give them open looks. And shout out to Josiah Allick and Rink Mast. They make them pay. They start slipping on a lot of those screens, on those dribble handoffs. They'll maybe wait, and then they'll quick flash to the rim. And in the first half in particular, Northwestern gave them a lot of problems. They were getting punished for playing that high up on the ball. And again, it just showed Josiah Allick that when he is given that opportunity to play a little more aggressively, he did well with it. 15 points, didn't take a ton of shots, made some free throws as well. The free throws are a good sign because that's just an area where Alex struggled, but he did pretty well last night. Moving on to Bryce Williams, 12 points, 2 assists, 4 rebounds. I thought it was just a good all-around game from him. Needed some buckets there towards the end, and he was definitely one of those anchors. Jamarcus Lawrence, we already talked about him. Again, a different kind of role. Didn't play on ball, or excuse me, didn't have the ball as much playing that point guard position. Played a lot more off, and it worked out for him. He got more points that way. Was even able to get a few more rebounds than he usually does, getting up there with 5, and then the 3 assists as well. And Jamarcus Lawrence is a guy that I think he's still kind of trying to figure out his fit within this roster. At times it looks really good. He's kind of got that mid-range pull-up jumper that can give people problems if they're not ready for it. The three-point shot kind of ebbs and flows with him, but he's pretty good at attacking the rim. So with Jamarcus Lawrence, I do like this off ball. I feel like it allows him to tack a little bit more. He definitely has the athleticism to where we saw multiple times against Northwestern. If you're not going to pay him full respect and you're going to be just completely locked in on the ball, he'll slap backdoor, and he's athletic enough to finish around the trees and quick enough to get by any of the guards if they're not quite paying attention on him. So a little different of a role for Lawrence, but I like what I saw nonetheless. Tamanaga, once again, I think we understand his role at this point. I think Keisei Tamanaga's role is the most easily defined, just a three-point shooting threat that really stresses out and stresses defenses to no end. You got to close out all the way, even if it's few feet in front of half court line. Like, he just does that. It's a nightmare for teams to go up against. And one thing about him, 14 points, he doesn't force a lot of shots. He's very selective for a guy that if he wanted to take 20 shots a game, I don't think anyone would have any problems with it. But he really plays well within the offensive system, and it doesn't seem to take away from him. He doesn't seem like a guy that I'm a volume shooter. I need 15 shots to kind of get my shot going. You see that. You see a lot of guys where the rhythm guys. If you have a 20-point scorer who's taking 15 to 20 shots a game, if you drop him down to 7 shots a game, you'll start seeing that a little bit in the field goal percentage as well. Some guys just take a little bit more rhythm. Keisei Tamanaga, doesn't seem to matter. If he's shooting the ball a lot early or if he's shooting the ball, just a little bit until late in the game, he's pretty consistent from there. So we think we all kind of know what we're getting. Keisei Tamanaga, CJ Welcher, 10 points. Again, had a couple big threes. Impressed by his game. He's going to be back next year. Only expect him to get more confident. Had a nice drive. Tough finish at the lane late in the game as well against Northwestern over that 7-footer. So CJ Welcher seems to be getting better. Sam Hoiberg, again, I think we're getting to know what he is, just that defensive juggernaut out there that can try to take away some of those best matchups like we saw in Bowie. And then, of course, Eli Rice, a guy that's getting more minutes. And I think we're all kind of excited to what he can be. In only 8 minutes of play, was able to grab 4 rebounds and assist, 4 points and assist and a rebound as well. And then we got Boone in first. How did Northwestern shoot 34 more shots than Nebraska? Okay, well, that's a great point. Now we can focus on the bad. So Nebraska does win this game. They pull it out 75-69. You look at the field goal percentage. Northwestern, 38%. Not great. Nebraska, 55%. How do we only win that game by 6 points? Northwestern, they take 63 shots. Nebraska only takes 47. Total rebounds, Nebraska has 40. Northwestern has 26. This is how Northwestern gets a lot of shots. Turnovers. Northwestern 7, Nebraska 18 turnovers. 18 is that's a tough number. That for anyone out there, high school, college, NBA, 18 turnovers is a lot of turnovers. That's tough to win games that way. And I think that's why this game really went down the stretch. If Nebraska was just able to take care of the ball, again, this is another game. This Nebraska basketball team shot 55% from the floor, 53% from three. This is multiple games now where we've seen Nebraska basketball shoot well above 50, not only from field goal percentage, but from the three-point line as well. So the reason why this team has dropped games isn't because they don't have good offensive playmakers. It isn't because the Fred Hoiberg offensive scheme isn't working. They lose games because it comes down to lack of rebounding, which got a little closer against Northwestern, and they're able to rally and really start blowing up that number. And it comes to turnovers. 18 turnovers is a bad number. You can't afford to have 18 turnovers. And on the other end, they only give up 7. Maybe you can give up 18 turnovers if the other team's turning the ball over like crazy. But for the most part, you're going to lose a lot of those games. If you don't out-rebound Northwestern by 14, you're probably losing that game. If you don't shoot above 50%, you're probably losing that game. If you're not shooting above 80% from the free throw line, you're probably losing that game. So there's a lot of things that had to go right for Nebraska to outweigh what was a horrible turnover margin, as Unknown Texter pointed out for us. So again, the turnovers are a thing to watch. We kind of talked about that with Jamarcus Lawrence, a little bit of a new role for him. We're seeing Rink Mass kind of bring the ball up more and more. It seems like they're kind of using him as more of a floor general, a point center, if you will, just get things set up, not necessarily overtake the offense. but to pull that big out early and then start setting up those back doors, which is smart, right? Because if you can pull Rink Mast out, a guy he's known he can hit the deep ball if you leave it wide open for him. And that's where you see a lot of those quick actions from Nebraska. Rink Mast pulls out, and then you'll saw it yesterday. Northwestern gets in all sorts of trouble because they're not watching those back doors. As soon as Rink Mast pulls out, Nebraska's looking for that. And then otherwise it's dribble handoffs, look for the 3-point shot, look for the back door, just drive straight to the rim. And you saw a lot of guys getting more confident by seeing teams when they press them. I saw CJ Wilcher take advantage of it. Even a guy as short as Keisei Tamanaga, when they're overplaying him, just a quick shoulder fake, flip it up with the left hand. And again, just Jamarcus Lawrence, I'm curious to see what his game's going to polish out to be. But I was a little optimistic seeing him be able to do a little bit better off ball yesterday. Because, I mean, we keep talking about this, and I know the point guard debate is always a big one. Who's going to be our starting point guard? The game's so positionless now. Just get the guys in positions where they operate best. There's enough ball handlers on this team. We talked about it. Your shooting numbers are great. You don't necessarily need your true point guard unless you're working on some post break or some press break. But nonetheless, not a conversation I'm overly worried with. I just want Jamarcus Lawrence to be in the situation that fits him best. We got enough ball handlers. And last night against Northwestern looked like one of his better fitting games where he just seemed to be in sync the whole time. And defensively, I thought he played pretty well. So with that being said, though, we'll go ahead and throw it to break. We'll have one more going solo all the way up until noon. And from there, we'll have the breeze as scheduled as always. So again, I'm Harrison Arens on the 1s and 2s going solo. You guys can always join in on the Starter Heyman text line, 402-464-5685. I'll talk to you in a little bit.
Working at Continental in Lincoln isn't a job, it's a career. And right now, they've raised wages again, and they're hiring for production operators at $24.62 per hour, which grows to $28.97 per hour within 3 years. Skilled trade positions now start at $33.36 per hour, with opportunities to make more based on certifications. Continental also has salary jobs available and great benefits, plus medical and prescription costs at very low premiums. Dental, vision, and life insurance are offered at no premium cost to the associates, with increased bonuses and vacation for new hires. To learn more or apply, go to continentaljobs.com with keyword Lincoln. Come work at Continental today.
The Mill Coffee and Tea inside our 93.7 The Ticket studio is now open 7 days a week. From 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. on weekdays and 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. on Saturday and Sundays, you can enjoy burritos, cinnamon rolls, fresh brewed coffee, delicious tea, or even their coffee and cream ale. Sold exclusively at the Ticket Mill location. Open 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. on weekdays and 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. on the weekends. Right here at 1040 O Street in downtown Lincoln.
Hi, it's Joel Norman, the voice of your Lincoln Stars hockey team. Tune in to 93.7 The Ticket every Tuesday night from 8 to 9 p.m. to hear the latest on the Stars with myself, head coach Rocky Russo, and special player guests.
Vershawn Jackson, the captain here for The Body Shop. And man, did they hook me up with a great massage recently. The captain has a lot of stress in his life, as many people do. And for 1 hour, it was all relieved. The team at The Body Shop gave me a deep tissue massage that hit every area that I was in pain at. Whether you're looking for a Swedish massage, sports massage, deep tissue, hot stone, aroma, or more, there's only one place to go. The Body Shop at 48th NA. Book an appointment today at thebodyshoplincoln.com. Vershawn Jackson here for Bauer Underground, who has been serving local contractors and utility contractors all across the state since 1997. When you see the black and white trucks, you know the baddest dudes in the business have arrived. Bauer is currently looking for equipment operators, laborers, diesel mechanics, and aerial linemen. Join the brotherhood built on hard work, authentic people, and pedigree of success. Bauer, a family-friendly company who reminds you, go Big Red!
Make the 2024 deer season your best yet. Come to the Nebraska Deer and Game Expo Friday, January 19th through Sunday, January 21st. Check out the hunting seminars, browse the hunting and outdoor exhibits, sign up for the Dylan Blind giveaway, compete in the Big Buck and Monster Shed contest, and try the 3D shoot and more. Buy your tickets at the door. The Nebraska Deer and Game Expo, January 19th through 21st at the Sand Hills Global Event Center in Lincoln, 84th and Havelock, presented by Whitetail Properties Real Estate.
Houses? They're expensive. And once you buy one, you're kind of stuck with it for a while. You need to make sure you get your best house for the best price. You need Ben Bleicher and his team of pros at Professional Realty Group. They'll take the time to figure out what's important for you in your dream home, and they have the expertise to find the hidden issues that could surprise you after the sale. That's professional knowledge, proactive service. We call that potential. Ben Bleicher and the team at Professional Realty Group of Berkshire Hathaway's Home Service Ambassador. Find more online at prg-ne.com.
Gaina Trucking is hiring CDL Class A and B drivers. Gaina Trucking guarantees a 40-hour work week year-round, and their strong team culture makes it not a job, but a career. Gaina Trucking offers health, vision, and dental insurance, 401k with company match, an employee assistance program, and other bonus programs. Build a better career today with great team culture at Gaina Trucking. Learn more and apply today at GainaTrucking.com.
Action Plumbing, Heating, Air, and Electric is the call I make when I have a need for plumbing services. Whether it's for my home or office, if I need a repair to a water heater, softener, or even my garbage disposal, I know I can count on Action to help. In one simple call, their amazing customer service team promptly schedules a service call, often getting to my needs within a day. Action delivers honest, quality services we can count on. To learn more, visit actionlincoln.com.
On the Block with Strick and Austin.
If Ewers throws that ball to the front pylon, Texas might have tied that game up and had a chance to win it.
That moment right there, it's one of those moments that every young man dreams about. There's two outcomes in that moment. You're a gamer or you tense up.
You're a gamer or you're a goner.
Or you're a goner.
Weekdays from 2 to 4 on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. You're listening to Lloyds and Lincoln with your hosts, Ramel Lloyd Sr. and Ramel Lloyd Jr.
All right, welcome back in. This is not Lloyds and Lincoln. This is actually just Ticket Weekends with Harrison Arens. So apologies for the intro music there. Hopefully we'll get Ramel Lloyd Sr. back on for one of these high school games. But nonetheless, this is just a solo segment with Harrison before we get to the Breeze, which will take place at noon. And again, if you guys ever want to grab yourself a cup of coffee at the mill, they do close at 1. So you got about an hour left. 1040 O Street, go grab yourself a cup of coffee. And again, we'll have shows here as well. So you can always just hang out, listen to some of the shows, meet some of the hosts as well. But nonetheless, we'll kind of wrap this up on Nebraska basketball here, and then we'll talk a little bit about these NFL games coming up. And if you guys want to swing this segment while we got time, 402-464-5685 is that Starter Heyman text line. But again, Nebraska basketball able to beat Northwestern 69-75. Their next game will be, I believe, against Ohio State. Yep, Ohio State Tuesday at 6 p.m. And then they'll be on the road against Maryland on Saturday, January the 27th. So 2 games next week, one at home against Ohio State Buckeyes, and the next one on the road versus Maryland. So again, a couple games to watch for as Nebraska basketball continues to weed out the rest of its Big Ten conference play. And a goal to, I think the common goal would be get 20. You'd feel pretty good about a tournament as a fan. But obviously, if you're a player, you want more than that. But with that being said, continue to root for Husker Hoops here as they march closer towards postseason play. And in most rankings, they are making the dance as long as they keep up that consistent play. But let's move on. Let's go to the NFL because, oh man, there's only so many NFL left. Enjoy it while you can because we're getting there. I mean, we're about to be done with NFL. So today we got the Buccaneers Baker Mania playing at Detroit, going up against the Lions. And then, of course, the Chiefs Bills. That one's at 5:30 today. That's probably going to be the biggest one. Chiefs Bills, because we don't have a ton of time, I think we'll start there. But the Bills and the Chiefs. Interesting because every time I talk about Mahomes, I give him this kind of same treatment I give LeBron. Whether you like LeBron or not, it doesn't matter. The point stays the same. You can't count him out. All right. It's the quote unquote LeBron effect, quote unquote Mahomes effect. I don't care what you think about the rest of the roster. When he's there, that's just a tough team. You can't ever count out what he's capable of. Looking at the Bills, this is a team who early on, it was a turnover problem for Josh Allen. Oddly enough, kind of a oddly weird turnover year for Mahomes as well. But Allen, at one point in time, was leading the league, I believe, with like 18. Wasn't even close. He was well and above the league, leading the league in turnovers. Insert a new offensive coordinator that understands the run game might be important to this team, especially if we get into red zone situations. And you see it. They fixed the run game with the new offensive coordinator. And it just feels like they've taken a lot of pressure off Josh Allen's shoulders. It feels like he can breathe. All right. So many of these games before they made that switch just felt like it all was on the arms of Josh Allen, literally on the arms, because they weren't going to run the ball. All right. They were going to live and die unless it was an inside read with Cook. That was pretty much the depth of their run game. It didn't get too creative. You saw it in how teams played them defensively. They were never worried about the run, and they took everything out of shotgun. So everything out of shotgun, all the play actions, they weren't really fooling anyone. It's a team that never went under center with their old OC. They just really had a hard time fooling anyone with the run game. It just felt like every time they try to tease it up, there's hardly any motions in it. The only thing they really had going for it was that play action, which again, taking that in shotgun, that's one quick look for those linebackers to see if you're actually handing it off or not. Put it in pistol, or you put it, you're under center and you got to drop back and you kind of mix it up, disguise it a little bit, disguise that handoff as you have your back to the linebackers. It's a lot harder to read than the linebackers just staring dead in the eyes. And then a quick, okay, it didn't get handed off. I can pursue the quarterback or get in coverage, which led to numerous interceptions early in the season for Josh Allen, at least in my personal opinion. But I do think the Bills right now are the better team. I think they fixed that run game. The red zone is no longer this grueling area for this Bills offense that really struggled. They got the red zone for the most part figured out. All right. They can run the ball effectively. They can at least get within field goal range. And it's not all just through the arm like it was in the past with Josh Allen. So I'm going with the Bills on this one. They're hosting it as well. I got to believe in mind that there's going to be some revenge feelings in this game for the Bills. Obviously, you go back to the last time they encountered in the playoffs. The NFL literally switches the rule just so you can have what was the best NFL games, at least in my time, go on to more playoff or extra time if needed. So, and we didn't have that opportunity. So I think with this game, the Bills, there's a lot of bad energy. I'm sure they want to get back. You're hosting it as well. You're home. And we've talked about Bills Mafia enough, but I think I just got to go ahead and hand it to them as one of the best fan bases. When you have sub-zero temperatures and you have a line of fans that are willing to help you scoop snow around the stadium for $20 an hour or for free if they're just doing it for fun, and you don't just have 20 odd some people, you have a massive line wrapping around on a game that is below 0 degrees and it's snowing and it's miserable out, and they were out there ready to go. So again, I'm gonna roll with the Bills on that one. When it comes to the Lions and Buccaneers, we'll go real quick on it. The Lions, I'm not so sure. At the end of that Lions-Rams game, it looked like Goff was trying not to choke. Or I shouldn't say Goff, the Lions as a whole. And it just didn't feel like the strongest finish. With the Buccaneers, a team that has kind of already made their statement, they feel dangerous. If they lose this game, I don't think the Buccaneers fan base is, screaming through social media. If the Lions lose this game, the Lions fans will be devastated. This is a game where I feel like the Buccaneers have nothing to lose. And that's when Baker Mayfield, in my opinion, is the most dangerous. When he suited up for the Rams after one day, he gets signs and then he goes all the way out to LA and plays that next day, nothing to lose. You see one of Baker's best games. So I think with Baker Mayfield, the pressure's off. Trey Palmer tweeted out today for all the Husker fans out there that he is quote unquote pissed off today. He woke up feeling pissed. So look out for Trey Palmer. As we've seen that tweet, typically when that tweet comes out, he's bound for a touchdown. So again, I think I'm going to go with Buccaneers on that one. Roll with Baker Mayfield. Was the Lions, it might be another year before Dan Campbell and crew really start making those deep playoff runs. But with that being said, we're going to wrap it up here. This has been a solo segment. I've been Harrison Arens going all the way up until noon. From here, we'll still have the breeze taking place as normal. But I appreciate you guys listening, keeping me company. And again, you guys can always just plug into the streams for all these shows in the future here. Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, and of course, Allo Channel 961. Thanks for listening, and I will talk to you guys on the other show.